What's up, I'm Troubleshoot. Since the meta shift update, Radtown has changed quite a bit. In this video, I'll show you everything you need to know about it, including the new green card, and of course, all of the loot spawns and things like that, so you can come through here knowing exactly what to check and what to get. So without further ado, let's have a look at Radtown. Starting off at the very top, there is a recycler here, and a green card room, as well as a couple of wooden military crates, making it a fantastic place to come visit. While this building on the left, which has the recycler, requires some pretty high rad protection, the rest of this isn't necessarily as strict. If we have a look over here with this first overhang building, you can see just underneath it, we've got a ton of barrels sitting here. In fact, usually about 9 of them. And not to mention, inside of this truck that spawns here, there's sometimes a diesel barrel that spawns in here, or heading over in the other direction, there's almost always a diesel barrel that spawns on top of this green car, but you do need rad protection in there. We'll return to this building just now. For now, heading further down the street, this building here is usually pretty empty, but inside you'll find most of the time a couple of food crates, and as you can see, upstairs, a normal box to loot as well. Just outside of it, you'll find this trash pile with a couple of food crates spread around it. Usually, I don't find too much food in these, but I do find rad pills and things like that, which are pretty useful. Then across to this final building here on this side, inside of this first room, a box, and on the other side, a barrel. Inside of the next room, you'll usually find diesel on the lowest shelf here, a box on the other side of the room, and finally, this back room here, a box that spawns over here. And into this room here, I usually don't find much at all, besides maybe the food crate in the bottom of the fridge there. Heading outside, and to the other side of the street, this building here, on the right, has this section here, but there's usually nothing in here. On the left, there's a burning section here, which you can travel through, but again, nothing inside of here. If we head across to the right side of this, there's a way up here, heading up and into this long passage. All of these doors on the right are completely inaccessible, there's nothing in them, but across on the other side, I usually find a box over here, just before this little hole in the wall. If you head out this hole in the wall, you can see there's a food crate just behind it, and a second way in, if you wish to enter from this side. Alternatively, there's a ladder here, leading up to the roof, where usually I find a green crate just in front of these 2 air conditioning units, and on this side, one as well. Though that is a pretty low spawn rate, oftentimes it'll just be a normal box up here. With this multi-story building out of the way, there's this one over here where you can hop out the windows in quite a few places, and inside of it, there's not really much at all. Usually just food crates, and that's about it. Finally, the most interesting building here, which includes the green card, is this one right here. On the roof, you'll usually find a box or 2, as well as a passageway that leads across with some great spots to shoot from, and out to this far section here where you can head up. Just below it, you'll find a sparking fuse box, a switch right next to it, and once you choose to activate this, you can head up and in here, where inside you might sometimes find a green crate here, though it's usually just a box or nothing. Through this right door, you'll find immediately after it the green keycard door. Inside of here, I almost always find 2 military boxes spawning right here, as well as on the table, a blue card and a basic blueprint fragment. Heading back out of here, you'll find yourself in this room here with a staircase and a doorway leading onto the outside of the building, usually with a crate right next to it. This leads just onto the roof here, which we saw a moment ago. If we instead head downstairs here, you'll find a back entrance, which you'll need to keep an eye on, which leads out to here. There's also a ladder here that heads up to the roof, although there's nothing that spawns on top here. It's just a good vantage point. Not to mention a window here, which will become important in just a moment. Back inside, this little passageway with a staircase to the right is this room here, which has the recycler and oftentimes a food box, as well as a window here which you can just barely peek out from the tire here. If we head out of the recycle room, and just to the right, we're inside of this main area where we've got the green truck and a diesel barrel that almost always spawns on it. Right behind you are 2 smaller bathrooms which you can hide in, no loot inside, and just to your right, a small office here, which doesn't usually have anything. Behind us, a small bedroom of sorts that usually has food. And finally, in this last room here, you'll usually find a box in the far corner, but immediately to your right, there's a door here that not many know about. Just behind it, you'll oftentimes find a box or 2, which is almost always worthwhile checking. Sometimes they can spawn green crates here as well. Usually, all of the normal crate spawns in this monument can have a chance of spawning a green crate, so it's pretty worthwhile checking. This place is almost always loaded. I have about 16% rad protection, which protects me from most of Radtown. However, this building here does require quite a bit more, so you'll need to bring a hazmat suit or, of course, armor with plate inserts. Now we're pretty much done going through this entire town. The only last place is all the way over there on that side. next to this recycler room, by this entrance, you'll find this. So, grabbing ourselves a fuse and a green card, I'll go ahead and pop the fuse in and hit the switch to the right. Then we'll immediately head to the side, up here, and left into this building. Oftentimes, a crate spawning here, and just through this door to the right, the green card room. Swipe. Inside, we've got 2 military crates, which are great to loot. There you go. And, of course, over here, a blue card and a basic fragment. In total, from Radtown, I got all of these items here, minus the backpack I'm wearing, hazmat suit, salvaged hammer, and of course a card. If we scrap everything, that's usually scrappable. In total, I got all of this, roughly 400 to 500 scrap, some high qual, some metal, and of course a bunch of other random components, a fragment, a blue card, and a ton of food. Fantastic. Just keep in mind while you're recycling, someone can always hop on top of this box, on top of the wall, and from this angle right up here, they can see perfectly inside. Basically, no matter where you are, it's easy to spot you unless you may be crouched over here or over here. As for required rad protection, most of this town is okay to walk on as long as it's outside. For example, this warehouse here, completely fine. However, all of these buildings here all require at least 11 rad protection, as simply walking nearby will immediately start giving you some rads. However, that's just enough for you to wear 3 pieces of simple cloth clothing, giving you 6, plus a wooden chest plate or wooden pants. This should let you roam most of these buildings completely rad-free. However, this main recycler building requires far more, as even this much will still give you rads. So, if you want to come in here, or even around these barrels here, you'll most likely need to commit to using a rad suit. Then you're able to walk around pretty much everywhere here, including inside here where the recycler is. Much better. Also, be aware around this building and the next one, there is radioactive water, which when stepped in with the rad suit doesn't do anything, but you can drink it, giving yourself rads, or you can load it into a water pistol. So if you come over to some water, you can hold right click and load it up with some radioactive water. This should almost immediately kill any plants you spray it on. If you're raiding farms, or of course, if you spray it on other players, you'll give them radiation as well, which is an interesting quirk about this one particular monument. Now, something incredibly interesting about this is that there's also a couple of hidden cameras here, so you're never truly safe even if you're alone. You can craft yourself or find a computer station, plop it down, sit at it, and use the codes Radtown House, Radtown SBL, and Radtown Apartments to get this view over the main road, this view on the roof, and this view on the other side of the town, so you can do some remote monitoring. Radtown SBL is most likely the most useful one, as if these 2 crates are taken, it probably means that someone's actually inside of here, recycling, or something along those lines, especially if you see people here picking things up, as it probably means they're already recycling downstairs and waiting for it. Overall, Radtown is a brilliant monument to build next to. There's tons of super easy loot, and of course, an incredibly easy green card puzzle with a fuse that gets you a ton of high quality loot and a fragment really easily. So, hopefully you found this incredibly quick guide useful. Thank you for watching. My name's been Troubleshoot, and I'll see you all next time. Ciao.